please hit that subscribe button. Hey everybody, better suited to win the Stanley Cup this season. If you are new to the channel, Washington Capitals, the Boston Bruins.
Locked on and he scored! And we're live.
Hey everybody, it's time for another lineup projection video, and today, moving back over to the Western Conference, we are going to be looking at the Vancouver Canucks. So Vancouver was a team that I was very high on going into this season, and they ended up having a pretty good year, especially when they were healthy. When they're healthy, they are one of the more dangerous teams in the Western Conference with a lot of young talent. They certainly have a very, very bright future ahead of them, but I think they also could make a serious impact right now as well, especially with a healthy lineup. And they've got Markstrom back, Besser back, Ferland hopefully back. This is a fun team to watch, and a very talented team, very deep team top to bottom. So before we begin, I just ask that you please hit that like button if you haven't already. Those thumbs up go a long way. And subscribe to the channel if you are new. Really, really would appreciate it. It helps a lot. So let's switch over to the cap-friendly screen here and take a look at the Vancouver Canucks. So, man, Vancouver, when they're healthy, are one heck of a hockey team here. Obviously, you've got Elias Pettersson leading the way down the middle. Right now, JT Miller's played on his left side pretty much most of this season, so Miller's certainly staying there. I have Tyler Toffoli on the right side, at least to start. Again, you could put Besser there if you wanted, and you could do this. It's going to be a common theme throughout looking at Vancouver's lineup, is there's a lot of guys that you could just flip-flop with someone else. It depends on who is playing best with Pettersson versus Horvat. Who is playing best? Who do you want with Bo? Who do you want with Pettersson? There's a lot of things that you can flip flop around here. But I would say Besser probably drops and plays with Bo. Horvat and Toffoli plays on the top line with Pettersson and Miller. That leaves Tanner Pearson as your second line left wing. I think he's been there pretty much the whole year. Third line center, Adam Gaudet. I'm a huge Gaudet fan. I really like this kid. Which leaves Jay Beagle as your fourth line center down the middle. Jake Virtanen, right side on the third line, along with Antoine Roussel. Again, if Michael Ferland is healthy and he's been cleared to skate, he was limited. Ferland's an interesting one because there's a lot of questions here. Ferland was limited to just 14 games this year with major concussion issues. But so much time has gone on, he's pretty much been able to recover, hopefully, and he's been cleared to skate, he's been cleared to work out. So, if he's able to play, adding Michael Ferland into this lineup is just another addition to this already dangerous lineup, and he wasn't there for most of the year. But if he's able to come back, I mean, he's certainly, at one point, was a 20-goal scorer and is a guy who could play on the third line if you want to put Roussel down to the fourth line. But with the question mark there, I'm going to put Roussel on the third line and Ferland on the fourth line. And I have Zach McEwen in on the right side with Jay Beagle and Ferland on that fourth line. I love what McEwen did this year. I thought he was a very, very good depth player in the games that he did play for Vancouver. He didn't play a whole lot, but when he did, I thought he was effective. I think he was playing very well at the end of the season when he was more of a regular in the lineup. And I think he should at least get the first look at that right side on the fourth line. But there are other guys you could put in there. You could put Brandon Sutter in there, certainly, if you wanted to. Get a more veteran guy in there. You could put, now Josh Lavo, also an injury question mark. Not sure if he's going to be ready or not. If he's healthy, you could put him there. But in my mind, given the way he played this season, I'm starting with Zach McEwen there. I really, really like what he brought to the table, both physically and the ability to score a little bit, too. So, and then obviously you have your extra guys with expanded rosters. Lavo, if he's healthy, Sutter, Cole Lind, I think we'll get a call up. Tyler Mott, definitely an extra guy. Loui Eriksson, if this team's healthy, I do not have Loui Eriksson in their starting lineup. He has not produced at all for them. That contract is just an absolute disaster. And when you have Miller, Pearson, Roussel, and Ferland all healthy, there's no spot there for Loui Eriksson. All of those players are better in the lineup than Loui Eriksson, so I have him out. Reed Boucher, another guy with will probably get called up, and even Sven Barchi could potentially get called back up as a depth guy. Sutter can play the middle if you need him to, so you could do that. Cole Lind, young guy that will probably get a look. But overall, this forward group, all of a sudden, when they're healthy like this, is very, very deep. And very, very good as well. I mean, look at that top six. Miller, Pettersson, Toffoli, Besser, Horvat, Pearson. That is an extremely good top six that can put up some big-time goals for sure. I mean, I love Adam Gaudet. I think Roussel adds a nice, touch on that left side with not only the grit part of the game, but also the ability when he's healthy to chip in offensively. Jake Virtanen, I think, is finally starting to... Virtanen's probably never going to live up to where he was drafted. But I think, he certainly can be a guy that is an effective player in the lineup, and I think he's starting to really become that for Vancouver. And then the fourth line, I mean, obviously Jay Beagle's one of the best fourth-line centers in the league. McEwen, like I said, is someone that I really like, and you could put someone else. Certainly other players could potentially be on that spot as well. And then Michael Ferland, if he's healthy, I mean, we know how big of a player Michael Ferland is and how, especially come playoff hockey, just his style of play and the physicality. Hopefully he's okay concussion-wise. Hopefully he's healthy. He's a huge part. He can play a huge role in that lineup if he is healthy. And then if he's not healthy, if the concussion symptoms return or there's more problems and he can't play, you definitely could put Eriksson there. You could put Boucher there. You could throw Barchi there. I mean, there are plenty of other players that could hop into that spot. Tyler Mott could move over to the left side. Tyler Mott can play any forward position. So that's actually a really good guy to have with that versatility where you can slot him into the lineup on the left side, the right side, or down the middle, wherever you need him. And, that's a really good quality to have. So this is an overall deep team. This is a deep team when they're healthy. And obviously they've got some serious talent in that top six as well. So there's plenty of flip-flopping that you can do throughout this lineup. You could flip-flop Besser and Toffoli. You could flip-flop Virtanen and McEwen if you wanted. You could flip-flop Ferland and Roussel. You could throw in Eriksson if you wanted him in. You could throw in Brandon Sutter if you wanted him in somewhere. But, there's definitely some options here. But for the most part, I think this would be your top, 12 forwards. And then your extra guys, at least to start. Moving on to defense and goaltending, getting Jacob Markstrom back is huge. This team really started to struggle when Markstrom was injured. However, he's not injured anymore, and that is a really, really good news for Vancouver. He's obviously your number one. Thatcher Demko, your backup, and then Louis Domingue would be called up as your third goaltender. And then defense, so goaltending's pretty straightforward with this team, unlike the Rangers were. It's very straightforward. It's Markstrom, Demko, Domingue. And then defensively, more flip-flopping is possible here defensively. So you have Edler, Hughes, and then Jordy Ben. At least that's who I have on the left side. And then Tanev, Myers, and Stetcher. However, I think those are your top six, and then Oscar Fantenberg would be your number 7. And I think those are your top 6, but you really could pair them with whoever you wanted. Like, you could put Hughes up with Tanev, put Edler with Myers, and put Stetcher with Ben. You could put Myers with Ben, Stetcher with Edler, and Tanev with Hughes. You could put Stetcher up with Hughes. I wouldn't do that. Those are two smaller guys. I wouldn't do that. Put Stetcher. That's the one. That's the one pairing I would not do. They're both smaller defensemen. I would not put Hughes with Stetcher. I want a bigger guy next to Hughes. So Myers next to Hughes, I think really would probably work pretty well. Myers, that big defensive guy, and then Hughes, I mean, he can put up some serious points. Then you're definitely going to want Tanev with Edler in that case. That pairing right there, I would think would probably be your number 1 pairing as far as ice time goes. This is what I'm sticking with. I think Tanev, Edler. I think that's a great pair of veteran guys who are good two-way players. Not only can put up a little bit of points offensively, but can be shut down D-men too. Especially Edler. I think that's been He's been around with Vancouver for a long time now. They keep re-signing him for a reason. He's a good two-way guy. And then Tanev, I think, at this point is a veteran guy that can play with him and really play well. So I really like that pairing. That puts Myers with Hughes. You could put Tanev with Hughes if you wanted, but I like Myers with Hughes, just the size and the kind of contrasting styles where Myers is more the defensive guy, and then Hughes you have the high offensive output from. And then that leaves Stetcher and Benn as your third pair, and I'm perfectly fine with that. That's a solid third pair right there. And then, like I said, Fantenberg becomes your number 7. And then you've got a few guys that I think will get call-ups as the rosters get expanded. I think Jalen Chatfield, probably gets a look and will get called up as a right guy. Then Olli Juolevi, hasn't really panned out yet. I think he's a guy that you would want to see at least get called up to the main roster. And Guillaume Brisebois as well, guy that could get a look. And if you go down here, depending on roster size, there are some other guys that I think could get a look. Now, Goldobin just signed in Europe, so I think at this point he's probably out of the mix. I think he's just going to go. Justin Bailey maybe could get a look. Grayovac if you wanted another center. And then defensively, maybe Sautner could also get a look called up. But for the most part, I think this is what you're looking at defensively. And I think your top 6 is pretty well set, with it being Tanev, Edler, Myers, Hughes, Benn, and Stetcher. Who pairs with who is a little bit more, up to the coaching staff. But I think those are your top 6 guys, with Fantenberg as a number 7. And then, like I said, with the forward group, is they've got lots of options here. They've got lots of depth here. It's going to depend on who looks the most ready to play, and who they decide to put on what line. But your top 6 is really, really good. It depends on it just kind of depends on who you want with who. And then this is when they're healthy, a pretty darn good bottom 6 as well. So overall, Vancouver's a team to watch. I really, really think Vancouver is a team to watch. I'm going to switch back over to the regular camera here. They're a dangerous team. They're a talented team. They're a young, talented team with enough mix of veteran in there where, they're not super, super young. They still have some guys who have been around. And, even a guy like Horvat, who is a young player, has been in the league for a long time and has a lot of experience and years under his belt. So, this is a team to watch, I think, and a team that could make maybe, if there's any of those, lower seeds that could make maybe a bit of a surprise run, I think Vancouver, when they're healthy, is certainly one of those teams that could pull it off. They're certainly, the talent is certainly there. So, yeah, I'm high on the Canucks going forward. I really think they're going to make an impact next season for sure, depending on how good of an offseason they have this year. But overall, they're a deep and talented team. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.